Welcome back to WagerTalk.com. Bowl action. We're heading to Wednesday, December 21st. We've got BYU and Wyoming, and we can't do a BYU game without the BYU expert. We've got Preston, the sports cheetah here. We'll let you start this one off. This is right in your neighborhood and a team that you followed closely all year.
Yeah, I guess I know Johnny had told me before the video started kind of where he was headed with this. And I agree for the most part, but one thing I've already heard twice, and then the third time when Johnny mentioned it as we were walking up to do this video, people refer to the fact that BYU's lost 4 games by a total of 8 points, which is true. But I like to then respond with, UCLA, cross it off.
There goes one of my talking points. Thanks, buddy. Should have went to me first.
They lost to UCLA by 3, but they were down 17-0 in the fourth quarter, and they scored 14 in the last 5 minutes. There were 2 garbage TDs. West Virginia, they lost by 3, down 17 in the fourth quarter, scored 2 touchdowns in garbage time. Mississippi State, one of their wins, they were down late. They came back, went to overtime. They ended up winning by 7. They won 2 games against Toledo and Arizona on buzzer field goals. I just think they're a team, when people refer to they ran really bad late in games, I actually think it's the reverse. I think they were more fortunate late in games and not in those 3-point games late. 2 of them were, they were down 17 in the fourth quarter. The game was over. So I think they're misleading to an extent. So I kind of tell people, watch out. Don't be just hammering BYU here against Wyoming because they were 8 points from being a 12-0 team. They're not that good. Granted, Wyoming's been fantastic in their own right. BYU played a much tougher schedule than Wyoming by far, and I think BYU does have some edges, which Johnny will get to, in the run game and some other spots. So I'd lean BYU, and I think I agree, but I do want to tell people, don't just look at the final scores and the box scores because they can be misleading for sure in certain cases.
All right, Johnny, anything he didn't steal from you there?
I mean, he could have just told me not to use that and then not threw me under the bus for I talk, but that's okay. But I still like BYU, and I guess it's hip to be square. Is the other video I had the over, and I know it's popular in our industry to always try having that underdog or the value play, but sometimes it's right in front of your face and it's obvious. Tossing out the fact that they're 8-4 in their losses by only 8 points is they're plus 12 in turnovers for the year. And I think one of the key things for this game is Wyoming is brutal against the run. San Diego State only had to throw the ball 13 times in the Mountain West Championship game. They literally were just able to run them. And a key stat for me is BYU on average runs the ball 42 times a game for 200+ yards. Wyoming on the flip side allows their opponents to run for an average of 42 times a game for close to 200 yards. So it's almost like this Wyoming way they play against the run is built for this BYU defense, and I know some people are concerned about the shoulder, was it dislocated or sprained against the Utah State game for the BYU quarterback, and they're going to the other kid who's supposed to be playing. I think he's going to be fine with the attack, and I think they're going to be able to run all over Wyoming. I think they're just going to blow them out of the water.
Tanner Mangum's a backup. He played almost his entire freshman year.
Exactly.
I actually think he's better for this type of offense
than
Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill's a senior. They were kind of just giving him his last run because he suffered so many injuries throughout his career.
All against Utah State, right?
All against Utah State, yeah. It's the weirdest thing. But one of them might have been Nebraska, and then he came back and got re-injured against Utah State one year. It's been unfortunate for them, but Tanner Mangum I actually do like for a pro style, run the ball and take a couple shots.
And it's an edge sometimes because your average person who's going to be betting the game is going to see the stud quarterback is not playing. Oh, it's the backup. Well, the backup was really the starter most of the time. He's better suited for the offense that is really suited for the Wyoming defense who gives up the run.
For people that don't know, the QB 11 camps that they do, the Elite 11, I think he was co-MVP with Jameis Winston few years ago, Tanner Mangum. So he has an arm. He's a much better passer. They'll take some shots. I think they'll have success.
Yeah, and he's got something, too, to erase a bad taste in his mouth from last year. If you remember, BYU played in the Las Vegas Bowl here. He had one of the worst halves you could have in college football. They were down 35-0 in that game. Turnovers. Utah, got that big lead and then had to hold on for dear life. Anyway. Yeah, 35-28 was the final. Giving him a month of prep. Add the fact that BYU has an offensive line, just awesome offensive line, and a running back in Jamal Williams that's rushed for over 1,100 yards this season. He's going to be just fine. I like BYU in here. You look at Wyoming, this defense is ranked 105th in the country. They're allowing 34.8 points per game, and BYU had the 15th ranked defense, allowing 19.4. And the only 3 teams that's top 20 points on BYU this year was West Virginia, Toledo, a MAC team that goes up and down the field, and Boise State. I just think that BYU, much tougher schedule, better defense, and they're going to dominate the line of scrimmage. I got to go square bear with you and take BYU, lay the points there. Hey guys, don't forget, each and every Tuesday at Wager Talk, it's $2 Tuesday. This guy sitting in the middle, Johnny Detroit, picks one capper each week and makes him the $2 capper. You'll get his best bet that week for $2. It's a great way to introduce yourself to Wager Talk or a new capper. Check it out each and every Tuesday. It's $2 Tuesday. And don't forget, use that coupon code this weekend, Lions10, save you $10 on a package this weekend. We'll be back with more at Wager Talk.